welcome back to my workroom. And he said classroom. Yeah, I'm Claire Cousins. I assist my daughter with Textiles East Fair. More details are below. It's a fair that's held in Cambridgeshire. We've got 2 fairs now, spring and autumn. The autumn one isn't until 2025, so depending on when you see this video, that will affect whether you've been or not been. Anyway, it's lovely to meet you, and if you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoy the strange bits and bobs I tend to do. It's irregular. It's nothing, I don't do the same things each time. I can vary, I can do all sorts of things depending on what mood I'm in and what I'm doing. I have been sorting through all my boxes and trying to sort stuff out because I've got to the point where, and I'm sure a lot of people are the same, it becomes too much for you, and you look around and you can't be creative because it's just cluttering. It almost clutters the brain, I think. Anyway, I had a good rummage, had a good sort out, and I'd already started this jar full of what I call vintage scraps. They're not technically vintage, but they're vintage inspired, so it might be sort of Cath Kidston prints and stuff like that, Liberty prints. And then I came across another bag. I'd obviously started another bag elsewhere. This is what I'm saying, this is what I need to sort out, because I've just got repeat bags around the place, and I found another bag full of similar bits. So I decided I'm going to try and amalgamate it or do something and create something. So I need a pen on my school workbook. I'm getting to the point where I keep losing my pens. It's doing my head in. So I have this notepad that I try to keep my sort of notes in, things I need to remember to do really. And at the moment the pen is just hooked on the spiral. It just keeps falling off, and it's a pain. So I'm going to make a pen holder, and I thought, you know what, I might as well use some of these fabrics up and make it pretty. So that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully you'll enjoy what I'm making. So come and see what I'm up to on my desk. Right, so what I've got here is an A5 notepad. It's, as you can see, this is what I'm doing, and I just keep losing it, and the lid drops off, and it's just a pain. So I want to do like a little pen on elastic. So I've already cut myself a piece of elastic. I don't know if you can see that. It's only a fraction bigger than the actual book itself. Now, depending on where you're from, I'll give it to you in both centimetres, which is 24.5 centimetres, and in inches it's about 9.5, nearly 10 inches in length. And I've already heat treated the ends with a lighter, just so it doesn't fray and make a mess. And what I've also done is I've also cut myself a piece of, it's Pelmet Violin, we call it here, but it's an very thick interfacing, and I've made it a fraction smaller than the book. So it doesn't matter how big your book is, you know, you can just do it by eye. That's what I like, everything you can do by eye. And you'll see that that will come around there, and that will come to that and join onto that like that. And that hopefully then, once I put a little pocket on the front here, make my little book. So let me have a look in my jar of loveliness. I've already pulled some fabrics out. Let me pull some others and have a look, see what I've got. I haven't got any plans yet, so you're seeing me making this from scratch. No idea what I'm doing. I'm just making up as I go along. I quite like the book. I quite like that. That's nice, isn't it? Might use that for the pocket bit, perhaps. Is it strange what you bundle together? I think, why have I bundled that with that? Actually, that's quite striking. Actually, no, I'm not going to go for that. I'm liking this. It goes with the book too. So that might form my pocket. And I could go for something a little bit muted behind. Something like that behind. My pocket on top, I quite like that. It's a bit different, isn't it? What else have I got? Yeah, I think I might go for that. Now, as I said, I'm using up my scraps. Oh, actually, I quite... God, there's so many lovely fabrics. Yeah, I love that too. That's lovely. But I've not got a big bit of that. Now, because it's scraps, it doesn't matter if they're not big enough, does it? Because they need ironing as well. I have to iron them. Do I make up all the front pieces first and then the back pieces? I might make up all the front pieces first. I just need to stitch any old thing on the bottom there. That doesn't matter because it's not going to be seen, because that's going to be a pocket. I'm going to turn that bit into a pocket, but what I might do... Decisions. Yeah, no, I like that as the pocket, like that. So I'm going to have to back that with a piece of material to get a nice edge and almost a stiffness to it. So I might back it with something I'm not so keen on or not too bothered about. Mind you, these are all quite nice fabrics. I don't know where I got them from. It's a bit funky, isn't it? A bit loud, a bit leery. No, it's a bit too leery. I don't think I'll go for that. Right, so I'm going to go for this on the top. And that is the pocket. It's quite sedate. Let me just check. Yeah, that'll be long enough. Right, okay. So I'm going to make up a front panel strip with a pocket on, and then I'm going to make a back for it, and then I'm going to sew around 3 edges, I think, and then pull it through like a bag. Anyway, let me just crack on with it. I'll show you how I'm getting on. Right, I've cut all my pieces. I've decided to go a little bit narrower. So that I've done this particular one now. It's 4 centimetres or 1.5 inches that way, and then it's a little bit short of the book by I don't know, what would that be, about 1/2 centimetre. Do you know, it doesn't matter as long as your elastic covers it. So it's just, you can do it by eye. I mean, you could cut this shorter actually. I mean, it's only got to hold a pen that's that long, hasn't it? Yeah. So it depends whether you've got a ruler or something you want to put in there. But I might shorten this, we'll see. But anyway, as I said, I'm using up my scraps. So because they're scraps, I've ended up having to cut 2 pieces for the pocket. And I'm going to just make sure that's stitched along that edge. So I'm going to right sides together, stitch along there to make the top edge of the pocket. And if you look, I've actually cut the backing a little bit shorter. So this blue will roll in, and that will be quite nice, you won't see it. And because this isn't quite long enough either, I've got a little bit that I'm going to stitch on to there, and you won't see it anyway. It's going to be under the pocket. So I'll sew that on, and I'll show you how that looks. Right, so I'm just going to sew this onto a bit of scrap just to make that bit longer. And as I said, that'll be the bit under the pocket anyway. And what I like about these sewing machines is you can just press this button. It's got like a little circle with a dot in the middle, and it does your knots for you, which is nice. My machine doesn't cut off. That's one thing I'd like as a cutter. So I'm going to cut that off, and I've just stitched that to that. So nice and simple. And I'm going to do the same with the pocket. Now the pocket, you could do it on an angle, but I will keep it straight, I think. It's not cut very straight, but I'm going to sew it straight. So I'll just trim that up because that's not too grand, is it? don't know about you, but I've discovered all my scissors are very blunt at the moment. I'm going through them and any that are blunt I'm just now putting through to the kitchen so everybody else can use them. Scissors are so cheap nowadays. They're not worth, I find, not worth. So you can see how I folded that over. What I might do is just top stitch that down because I quite like the look of that. It's white thread, but never mind. I'm not too worried about it being white thread. In fact, I could do a zigzag or something. I could do a pattern. No, I won't. I'll just do a straight stitch. But I could do a nice pattern on there. Right, that's done. And you can see slightly rolled over so I won't see the white. And how I did that was I made sure the white was cut a little bit shorter and the top bit a little bit longer. So now I've got those two components that I can put together. What I will do is check against the stiffener, make sure I don't need to cut anything off this one because this might be too long now. Let's have a look, see. Yeah, it's too long, so I can trim a bit off. You can see I've got a seam allowance around that. I hope you can see that anyway. I'm one of these people, I mean, you know, I do have a cutting mat, I do have cutting rulers. But it's a case of, I'm perhaps a little bit lazy because I like to just get on with it. Well, it's not laziness, is it? I just like to get on. So anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm sewing one side. What I should have mentioned, I don't know if you can see, if I turn that over you might see my pocket is a fraction, not much, just a fraction wider by, I don't know my inches, 3/8 of an inch perhaps, slightly wider, or in centimetres it's 1/2 centimetre wider, and that is so that I can have a little bit of a bump almost to allow for the pen. So it's not too snug, I can't get it back out again. So on one edge, I'm not doing it right sides together because that's going to come later, but I'm just lining up where I want my pocket to go. And on the very, 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 very edge, so I'm going to move my needle across to the furthest point across. I'm going to do a little tacking stitch on that one edge. Like that. And then I'm going to sort of bunch it up a little, just a little bit. Bunch it a little bit. And then sew that edge. I hope you could see without my arm being in the way. So I've pushed it over, so I've got like a little bit of a ripple to allow for the pen to go in. Now the bottom part, I'm not going to worry too much about the bottom part. I'll just sort of ease that in. Perhaps you might end up with a bit of a pucker on the bottom edge when I come to sew it back to that. So what's the next stage? So I've got the pocket on, I'm happy with that. I suppose really I should attach the elastic to one end. So I think I'll attach that here. elastic there. Now this is where I'm now thinking in my head, do I attach the elastic here too? I think I do. Yes, I think I can. So I'm going to do that. If it's wrong, I'll end up unpicking it. But you'll see me make the mistake. We can make the mistake together. So hang on, make sure it's in the middle there. Okay. So I've done that. So yeah, look, it's going to work, isn't it? Isn't it? Right, all I need to do now is put the backing on it. Hang on, I've got tons of thread everywhere. Let me get rid of some of this thread. Right, so I now need to put this backing material right sides over the elastic. Right, okay, but I want to do all the corners, so I'm going to leave an opening. I'm going to actually leave quite a fairly large opening because I've still got this to go inside. I think I'll fit it afterwards. Yeah, fit it afterwards. Right, so I'll do the corner a little bit because it's nice to have a nice neat corner, isn't it? Now I've got to move my needle back. There we go. Now what I tend to do, and I know a lot of people don't do this, I tend to move my needle where I want my seam allowance. I don't tend to move my fabric so much into this area. Now it is marked up, you know, depends what seam allowance you want, but I don't tend to usually do massive seam allowances. I think it's personal choice, isn't it? I was always told at school it was 1.5 centimetres. I don't know what that is in inches, I'm sorry. Just making sure that's nice and flat. Just a tip here, actually, if you can see that. Let me come in a fraction for you and come back. Hang on, there we go. A tip for you here is if you have your needle down, it's much easier to corner and not go all over the place. So you just lift your foot up, the actual lever on your foot, and look, you can change direction, and that's so much better. And if you're not quite where you want to be, just go back and then just manually by one, just turn the balance wheel towards you so your needle's back down again, and then just try again until, oh, you go like, oh yeah, that's happier, I'm much happier with that. So then we can work our way up this side. So that's a really good tip. I hope that is useful for you. I'm just checking that bulge is still underneath where the pocket is. I'm not going to sew it out at this point. I've started at the top here. My filming stopped. I'm not entirely sure when it stopped filming, so I'm going to go back through it. So I've done a corner, I've done across the top. It's right sides together, and I'm coming down this side here. I'm coming down to the bottom now. Now you'll see here that if you can see that, I've ended up with a loop of elastic. So what I've got to make sure I do is make sure I push it back in where I want it, inside. Otherwise I'm going to end up with a bit of a mess. And I'm going to corner here. So I lift up my foot, needle's down, as I mentioned. Oh, I don't know, I say that. Not sure if I mentioned it. But the needle is down so that I can then corner. Let me just see where it is. I'm happy with that. Turn the corner. Actually, I've shortened it, so I'm going to go a little bit further with that. So I'm just going a little bit further. And then I can come across this end, across the elastic. And then I can stop on that corner, needle's already down. And then I can go a little way down here to form the corner. Not too far, because I've got that interfacing to go in. I'm just going to dot knot there. Like that. Turn that off, cut it off. and fingers crossed it will work. I'm just going to cut off my corners though. I cut my corners, make sure they go in the bin. If you can hear the noise, it's my daughter upstairs. I don't know what she's doing upstairs, but it sounds like a herd of wildebeest. I don't know if you can hear that. There we go. Yep, turning it through. Yeah, and it's working, so I'm happy with that. All I've got to do is slide the interfacing in and then come down that edge, and I'm going to top stitch all the way around, I think. So I'm just going to, I might need to iron it, but I'm just going to get my scissors to gently poke out the corners. In there now, hopefully it will still fit. You can always trim your, it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit, does it? You can always trim it to fit. That took me a little while just to wiggle it in. Yeah, that will fit. As I say, you may need to just trim it. It's going to be the corners where you might have a problem. So that's in. I'm going to fold that over there and then fold this as well. And then I'm going to have to, I think I might have to pin it to top stitch it. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. So I'm going to fold that over there. You see, I don't know, still don't know if you can see, there you go. Fold that over there, and fold that to there, and butt it up. I mean, I could slip stitch that, couldn't I? We'll see. Anyway, I'll show you it finished. Right, what I've done is I thought I'd filmed it, and it turns out I don't think I did. I am filming now, so that's for sure. And I actually sewed all the way around the outside edge, closing that slit that I had, and I used some quilter's clips just to hold it so that I could sew it easily. So that's that. So now, moment of truth. I haven't even tried it yet. So moment of truth. Does it fit the book? Let's have a look. Yeah, well, it fits the book. In fact, if anything, it's probably a little bit baggy. So it might, I don't know, do I like it baggy? I'm not sure. I might have to, yeah, I might have to take that elastic out of the top and push the elastic in a bit more because I don't think I like it that baggy. So, but not bad for my first little go. And there's my, yeah, I'm happy with that, but as I say, I will unpick the top and push the elastic further in to hold it. Anyway, I hope, this is, as I say, just using up more scraps. So I hope this little mini project you find useful. And where I've sort of gone wrong, people will say, oh, why have you left all your mistakes in? I'm going to leave the mistakes in because then you can see it's okay to make mistakes, but those mistakes can be corrected. So all I'm going to say to you is enjoy the mistakes. Okay, let me just show you, I don't know if you can see, hang on. I've undid the top here and I've popped the elastic in a bit tighter, and so now it doesn't flap about. So I'm much happier with it. And if I just pop my pen in like that, That sits comfortably, and it might be, and put a pencil in there with it. Let's just see. I can put my pencil in there with it. So don't forget, yeah, mistakes can be unpicked and sorted, not a problem. Take care, look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye for now.